Hi everyone. So, as always is the case, I had a peaceful night. My neighbor didn't make any noise last night. And sometimes you can hear her because she'll be banging on the walls or she'll be yelling at the kids. And last night was a peaceful night. I got home and it was quiet. Um, so what happened yesterday? Well, I was almost late for work. But God put a dream in. It was surreal. So I was sleeping because in my mind, I thought I was closing tonight or yesterday, and so I didn't have to be up early. But I was working the mid shift, so I had to be up early. And so God gave me a dream about me thinking that I was closing. And then my subconscious, you have to have spiritual eyes to see. Please, you gotta look deeper. You gotta look closer than what I'm saying. You have to look at the meaning of the things that I'm going through. You can't just look at it and go, oh, she's just telling the story about her life. No, it's not just a story about my life. It's an understanding of the things that are in the Bible that we must go through in order to fulfill the prophecy that God spoke. Okay, so I'm in a dream, and in my dream, I'm thinking I don't have to be at work till 3. But my subconscious tells me, no, you have to get up. You have to be at work at 10:30. I kid you not, my body like jerked up and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna be late. I was supposed to be there at 10:30. I look at the clock and it's only 7. I don't have to be on the bus until 8 o'clock in the morning. So I got dressed. I had, I had brushed my teeth, brushed my hair, got my keys, got my things. Out the door I went. And I got there on time. And then I get there. And of course I went through the whole day. I get there and I go get coffee at Dunkin' Donuts because God is now, He's given Starbucks. He's given the people at Starbucks chance and chance again to change, to turn back to Him. And they have refused. He sent me to Starbucks all over the place. He has sent me to Starbucks all over the world. I've been to Starbucks in Egypt. I've been to Starbucks in Singapore. I've been to Starbucks in Jordan. I've been to Starbucks in, when I went to Jamaica, they gave me what their version of Starbucks is. I've gone to Starbucks in New Jersey. I've gone to Starbucks in pretty much every state. Because God would say, have a coffee. I don't go have a coffee. And it was always at Starbucks. And it's the interaction with me, the way they treat me, the way they behave towards me. Because I'm the last chance. That's it. There's no more chances. There's not going to be someone coming behind me so that they have another opportunity. I'm their last chance. I've been saying this since I started, that God has been teaching me how to be His final chance, His final opportunity. I show love, I show grace, I show mercy, but it is the other person's place to turn to God and ask for forgiveness. Not to me, because it's not me they're throwing their smirks around to, or their side cracks, or their wisecracks, or their ugly customer service. It's not me. It's God that they're doing that to. Okay, that's it. I didn't even know I was going to go there. Okay, so He sent me to Dunkin' Donuts. Now, Dunkin' Donuts doesn't have very nice customer service, I can tell you that. Some do, some don't. For the most part, this one doesn't. And I've been to 2 different ones. So I know there's going to be others that I'm going to be going to, yeah, because God is done with Starbucks. He's given them an opportunity. They've chosen their path. And now they're just waiting on their judgment to come. So, this is how God explained the whole situation with my ex-husband. Because I'm still wondering, I'm like, why would you bring me out of the dark, out of hiding to speak to him? Like, of all people, to him. And I'll explain in a little bit all the revelation I received. So yesterday, on my way to work, I kept seeing Encore. And I'm like, you want me to keep going? You want me to keep going, doing this life? Okay, I'm in. And then he showed me that I am on his path. I'm on his path. I'm doing exactly what he wants me to do. I'm going exactly the way he wants me to go. And now, because I had this experience where I saw someone steal someone else's backpack. This man was not supposed to steal the other man's backpack. He was supposed to steal my backpack. That's why he sat behind me. He was waiting for an opportunity for me to release my protective stance on my bag, even just a little bit, so he can snatch it and run. Because that is what Lucifer does. When things are about to change in your life, things seem to fall apart. You seem to have more struggles. You seem to have more issues. You seem to have more blocked paths. And you feel like, oh my gosh, which way do I go? Which way do I go? Which is why yesterday, when I was on the bus driver missed the turn. And it's like he wasn't even paying attention. He stopped midway past the turn. He was already too far to turn because there was oncoming traffic on the other side of the lane, and he needed a wide berth in order to turn and get into the lane. And there was too many cars, and there was no way he was going to make it. So he had to make a decision. And you could see in his face, like, he was like, how did I? He had to go past that turn, go to the next turn in, and drive in reverse of how the buses go out. He had to go in reverse, and then he had to go past the stop because he couldn't turn in because he'd be in reverse. He'd be going the wrong way. So he had to go past the turn again. And I was very impressed with this bus driver because I didn't think he was going to make it. I mean, these turns, he was like, and we were coming up to a tight turn, and there's a building across from us, and I was like, oh God, is he going to make it? Is he going to make it? I don't know. And he turns wide, and he comes in, and he slides right into the turn. And I was like, that was you. There is no way he would have made that turn. There is no way. And so he parks, and he gets out of the bus, and he's just looking at the bus like, trying to explain to himself how it was that he got lost in his mind and didn't take the turn. I mean, it's muscle memory. They take that turn like every day. During their shift, they might take that turn like 5-6 times a day. So for him to not recognize that he had to turn, and as we were coming up, I'm like, he's going to miss the turn. He's going to miss the turn. And he did, because God had me open my eyes. He's like, look, what's happening around you? And I was like, he's going to miss the turn. How is he going to miss the turn, Father? He does this turn like all the time, day after day, every day on his shift. And he goes, well, and that's when I mentioned it to Moses, because Moses had commented on a video, and God calls people out on my channel because he's talking to them, and he wants them to understand that, yes, you hear God. You hear God. You hear him. And so I told him, I wrote in my post, I'm like, oh my gosh, the bus just missed the turn and he's going in reverse. God is speaking. Yes, God is speaking. Are you listening? Oh yeah, I get excited when it's God. I didn't wake up excited. I got excited when I started to see the things that he was telling me. Anyway, so after we go in reverse, I get to work on time, and then I say God bless and had a great day, and I went instead of going straight to work because I would have been an hour early. I went and I got my coffee because God said go get coffee. I'm like, okay, I didn't want anything to eat because I knew I was going to get food from the restaurant because I was going to eat pizza. So I went, got coffee, came back, put my stuff down. Oh, and then I forgot my puppy pads because I had bought a whole brand new pack of puppy pads and I left them at work. So these last 2 days I've been, because there are days where God says, don't take them out. I'm like, why? He goes, don't take them out. And let me back up a little bit. So on Wednesday, God sent me out to go to the Circle K because he wanted me to get some wine. And I was like, I don't really want to. I'm not in the mood. So I walked out because, yeah, I may say I'm not, I don't want to, and blah, blah, blah. I do what God says. God says go, I go. The day was horrendous looking. Like, we had a wind advisory for 4:30. It's 4:25. I'm like, am I going to get caught in this? And he goes, it's spiritual. It's not real. And I was like, okay. And the storm that was coming looked like it was going to blow us all away. But it never reached us. It never reached where I was staying at, where I am at. So I got to Circle K and I got to speak to the people there and, jovial, and I got my wine, and I got a soda. And then as I was walking back, God goes, go get some chicken. I'm like, okay, I don't have much money, and God knows I don't have much money. But if he says, go spend this, I go spend it. Because if I don't spend what he tells me to spend, he won't give me more. Because that means I don't trust him, that I don't have faith that he's going to provide. And I do have faith with the little. I may not have much, but whatever he says. If he tells me to donate $5 to a homeless person I see on the street, I do it. It doesn't matter how much I have left in my pocket. It doesn't matter how much I need to hold on to in order to make rent or to make the Uber drive, or because I know my Father's going to give it to me, and God is He's going to bring it through regardless of what's happening around me. And and I say this because literally I have enough for 3 rides in my bank account. 3 Uber drives. For Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's it. After that, I got to take the bus again. And God already told me, you're not taking the bus. And he has been providing. He has been giving me the money for the Ubers every day. And so all I have to do is go put the money in the bank. And sometimes he doesn't let me do that. And sometimes, so if we remember when Jesus was at the temple and the Pharisees were there looking at this poor old woman. She was widowed, and she was putting in the last bit of money she had. And Jesus said to the Pharisees, is giving more than the people who give 10% of their wages, because she's giving all she has in faith that God is going to come through for her. And he said, and he will, because she's willing to give what little bit she has for the abundance of God. And so I'm sitting, I'm drinking my coffee because he had me sit down, and I was watching The Price is Right, which Now I realize it's prophetic in and of itself. I mean, you got one young lady, she bids $1 and she wins. So she ends up getting to go to the showcase. And then she's supposed to pick, she's supposed to pick the numbers of the car, or was that a different lady? Yeah, she was supposed to pick the numbers for the car, and depending on where the if she picked the right two numbers for the first two numbers and then picked the right two numbers for the last two numbers, she won the car. She won the car. What were the numbers? She was picking 24, 23, or 23, 24, 25. And then the last one she picked was 77. I was watching it and I thought, that's odd. 23, 24, 25, 20, and 77. Those are numbers God has shown me. 23, 24, 77. Those are all years. 23, 24, 25. Things are going to happen in those years. I'm going to make it to 77. I don't know. We'll come back to that later, shall we? Anyway, so it gets closer to the time that I've got to be at work. So I walk across the street and I go and I put my bag down. I grab my puppy pads that I left at work. The people thought that it was a customer who left it behind. So they put it in the lost and found. I went and I grabbed it and I put it close to my bag so I wouldn't forget it again. And then I went and I sat down. And 10:30 showed up, so I went and I signed in, got started with work. And these girls do everything they can to try and make me feel like I'm not welcome. I don't care. I'm not there for them. I'm there for God. He tells me, hey, go over here, go over there. Do this, do that. Oh my goodness. Can I tell you the joy that I felt was over the top? I mean, really over the top. Like, I was happy. I was excited. Every person, hi, how you doing? Listen, yep, no problem. And we'd cackle. Like, you could hear the laughing all around the store. And this older man came in, and he was with his workers. So he was the owner, and they were his employees. And he was ordering food for them. And they're like, oh, they're eating me out of house and home. And I said, yeah, but they treat you good. That's why you do that. That's why you take care of them. And he goes, yeah, they do. And he goes, no, they don't. They're lazy. He was not being real. He was being funny and joking around, but he takes care of his men. And so he was telling them, asking them what they want, and they were like, no, I just want, pizza's fine, pepperoni's fine. He's like, dude, the boss is buying. What's wrong with you? You ordered the freaking everything. And they're like, no, pepperoni's only is great. And he goes, well, I don't want pepperoni. And he goes, you know what? Give me the meat pizza. I'm like, okay, so I extra large meat. And he goes, and give me 24 wings. And okay, 24 wings. And give me 2 flavors, this flavor and that flavor. And give me 4 sodas. And I'm like, okay, is that everything? And he goes, yeah, that's everything. And he goes, these guys, man, they don't work with crap. And they're always eating me. They eat me out of money. Like, I'm always broke because of these guys. And I said, they take care of you. And they work hard for you. And that is why you're here, taking care of them. And he goes, I know. He goes, sits down. And then I bring out the food, and he gave us a tip, gave us a $10 tip. And every customer that comes in that kind of speaks Spanish, I eventually speak Spanish to them. And it's a different interaction because they feel like, oh, I'm being taken care of. Like, wow, I get the same service these white people get. Yes, Mexicans do say that. They look at all English speakers as white people. Sorry, there is no ethnicity in our world. It's just white and brown. And please see it with spiritual eyes. See it with spiritual eyes. Okay, so they're almost done with their food, and he calls up the two employees that couldn't make it to the table, and he says, "Hey, what do you want to eat?" And they're like, "Oh, just a pizza, and that's it." And he's like, and I'm like, "What about a drink?" And he goes, "You don't want a drink?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah, you." And they start like giving me, and I'm like, "No, this it's self-serve, so I just need to know the core, like what two slices, what salad." And he's trying, like he's really trying to get these guys to buy the full meal. And they're like, "No, just two slices and a drink, and that's fine." And he's like, "What about a salad? You want a salad? Do you want wings?" And they're like, "Oh my gosh, that sounds so good." They go, "You know what? No, we're gonna wait until we go there ourselves and we have the food that we can look at the menu and pick what we want." And he goes, "Ah, yeah, these guys, lazy as can be, always eating everything." And I'm like, "But you love it because they work hard for you." And he goes, "Yeah, they do." And he goes, and I started putting them in the box. And he goes, "No, can you wait? Because we're not leaving yet. And we wanna, take it with us when we go." And I said, "If I don't put them in the box right now, chances are there may not be slices for the pizza that they want when you're ready to leave. So I'm going to put them in the box, and I'm going to put them in the hot box back here so that they'll stay hot." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And when he's ready to leave, he goes, "Oh, can you give me?" And I went and I grabbed the boxes, and I said, "See, the pizza that they wanted, it's all gone." And he goes, "Oh, yeah, it's a good thing you put it in the box then." I'm like, "Yeah," because I knew it's a popular pizza. That we get a lot of construction workers that come through, and that pizza is a very meaty pizza. It's a hearty pizza. So they're looking for something that's inexpensive that they can eat, that is going to fill them until they get home or until their next meal. A lot of these people that are coming into the store, the construction workers, are low income. They work hourly wages. These are construction workers, landscapers, painters, and these are the hardworking people. These are the people that provide services to others. And these girls treat them like they're the bottom of the barrel. And it's like, no, they're not. I have received more tips from people who serve than the people who work in the offices. Because the people who serve understand the effort it takes to serve someone. And when you treat them like the bottom of the barrel, then you're telling them that their service is worth nothing to you. And they wouldn't want to serve you because you are not the kind of person that they would want to work for. Because you won't treat them nice. You won't treat them with respect. You won't treat them with kindness. Service requires service. In order to serve, you're in a business to serve others. You should be serving others. If not, then what are you doing there? That is why God sent me. These girls weren't serving, but they were expecting to be paid for the service they weren't providing. They were mistreating God's children because they didn't feel like they could afford to tip them. That is why you shouldn't speak unless you understand the way that God is walking that person. And not the reason I came on. Anyway, so went through the day. I know we ended up with more than $4 a piece. But they took what they wanted because, they do what they want. And I never complain because God always takes care of me. Okay? So the young girl, Cassie, she had an appointment. She didn't want to stay till 6 o'clock. She didn't want to stay late. So she asked me if I would switch with her and allow her to go home early. and then I could just stay until 4 o'clock when the next person came in. But I know better because they never send me home early. Not if I'm there, and not if they're shorthanded. And I won't go home unless they send me home. And I know that they're okay. Yeah, I didn't go home until 6:30 last night. But that's not the point. The point is that they went home and they left me alone. And the boss, he sees me. He's like, he walks around and I'm, cleaning tables and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And I'm not bothering anybody. Police officer comes in. I'm like, hey, how's it going? To take care of him. Police officers are servers. I serve them because they are important to our community. They keep us safe. They keep the trouble from coming in. So I take care of them the way God says to take care of them. With a smile and a blessing. They don't tip. They get special pricing and they don't tip. Now, I've never seen them tip these girls. But they've tipped me. They've tipped me $10. They've tipped me $5. They've tipped me $3. They've tipped me at the table. After these girls leave, because they're in such a hurry to leave, they don't bother to go clean the tables. I go and I clean the table. I'm like, oh, $5 for me, $5 for me, $5 for me. And then, so the young lady that came in at 4 got there, and I had noticed the police officer had left. So God sent me to go clean that table. And I was like, okay. And I went and I cleaned the table. I did not expect to find money there. There was a $5 bill. And I knew in that moment they took $5 extra. That's why God gave me that $5. But it gets, so we go through the day and I see that there's people coming. And I asked the boss, I'm like, hey, is there like room in the patio for 60 people? And he goes, yeah, they won't be able to sit down, but Or for 30 people, he goes, they won't be able to sit down, but I said, what if they start taking chairs from the inside? He goes, that's fine. I'm like, okay, I won't say anything. I always ask questions. What's allowed? What's not allowed? What do you want? How do you want me to take care of these customers? How much leeway do you want me to give these customers? Because I'm not going to cut them off and say, no, can't do that, if it's not what the boss wants. And, so I back up a little bit. Before the girl arrives, and this is when the guy who comes in to clean and calibrate our beer things, or I don't know what he does, but he cleans them, I know that. He was there, and I was asking him questions about why the beer would be foamy, like excessively foamy. And he told me, he goes, oh, that's not me. He said, but it might be because the beer's too warm, it might be because of this or that. I'm like, okay. And then, so I went, so the people left, and it was just me and the boss, and I'm like, hey, well, I don't know if anybody else has mentioned this. I said, but the kilt lifter is like really foamy. And I said, and it's not, 1, 2, 3 inches of foam is okay. I said, but you're talking about half a 25-ounce cup is full of foam. And he goes, what? I'm like, yeah. Do you know why that is? I mean, is there a problem with the beer? Is it warm? What? And he goes, oh, we just need to pull this and let the CO2 out. And he goes, and that should fix it. I'm like, okay. And he looks at me. And I said, because I noticed this, that we started having this issue last week, and it hasn't changed. It hasn't stopped. So I just wanted to make sure, because we're losing a lot of beer. That's a lot of beer that's money down the drain. And he just looks at me. And I said, and I couldn't remember what to do. So that's why I was asking. And then I said the next thing. And I said, oh, okay, good to know. I'll make sure the other girls know, that everybody knows, so that they know what to do when this happens again. And he just looked at me. I was like, okay. And he walked away. And then the night bus comes in. and he's been on vacation. But he looks like the cat just drug him in. And I'm like, dude, you've been on vacation for 9 days. Like, why are you looking like you haven't slept? He has a brand new baby girl, so that's why. But I give him a hard time because when his wife was pregnant, I would tell him that that little girl was gonna have him wrapped around his finger, and he's like, nope, no, no, she's not. You know, it's gonna be like the boys. I'm gonna treat her just like them, and it's gonna be fine. I'm like, no, it's not. And yeah, he like you were right. I'm wrapped around her finger. I would do anything for that little girl. I'm like, I know, because it's not the same. It's not the same when you have a little girl to take care of. It's different. Anyway, so he and the other boss were talking, and they're like, oh, looking at the schedule, and he's like, yeah, you've got, 2 people for the night. And and then they're talking about me in the third person, even though I'm standing right there. And he goes, yeah, Diana's going to be your counter until 4. But I'm sure if you ask her, she'll stay through rush. And and I'm like, oh no, you need to hire someone else because I'm done. I'm tired. We play like that between the 3 of us. And I said, of course I'll stay, Cody. Come on. You know better. And he just looked at me and he goes, I know. And he goes, honestly, Dana, you're always here. You're always willing to help. You're always willing to jump in, and we appreciate that. And then the other boss goes, yeah, but she wants a weekend off, so, And I was like, and I don't know how I'm going to get there because, so let me back up. So God had me purchase a ticket to go to a festival, and it's on the other side of town. Like, miles on the other side of town. By car, it's a half an hour, 45 minutes. And I'm like, Father, what? How am I going to get there? Like, I thought you were going to have I just have to give it to God and let him decide how I'm going to get there. But I have to go because I paid for the ticket. He told me, have faith. I'm like, okay. And I've seen him move, and I wake up and everything's changed. I go to sleep and everything's changed. I go to work and everything's changed. So I'm going to leave it at that. Okay. Now, hopefully I can. So here's, I'm getting to the end. Okay, so the party's been served. They can handle it from there. And